I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Matt Gaetz, the fascist MAGA Republican member of Congress from Florida, who is currently under federal investigation for child sex trafficking, made an appearance at a very popular bar and music venue in East Nashville called the Five Spot on Friday. He was spotted by patrons of the Five Spot who immediately were utterly disgusted and creeped out by Matt Gaetz, who was sitting alone at the bar, drinking, apparently looking at people in a very weird way. And Matt Gaetz got the opposite of a very warm welcome, and he should have known that the moment he stepped into a vibrant, inclusive, positive space like the Five Spot in East Nashville. And so we started getting reports of Matt Gaetz creeping everybody out at this bar and music venue on Friday from people posting photos of Matt Gaetz on social media. So here's a post from Holly McCall. She said, "Hey, Florida, your boy Matt Gaetz is loose in Nashville. Come retrieve him, please." And it's Matt Gaetz just drinking at the bar like a creep that he is, chugging, it looks like, a can of beer. Here's another post that says, "This dude came into our bar in Nashville tonight and made literally everyone there feel uncomfortable. Then the guy to his left scared him off, and then we all cheered. Hashtag Matt Gaetz, hashtag ew." And we're learning more about the person who scared off Matt Gaetz. Apparently his name is Jeff. That's the dude on the left, according to a post by Patrick Sweeney, who put out on social media, "My friend Jeff, dude on the left, a great dude and massive supporter of our live music scene in East Nashville, made sure pedophile and seditionist Matt Gaetz did not feel welcome in our community. Thank you, Jeff. You will no longer pay for drinks when you see me." Other posters posted things. This is somebody named Wonton Killer who wrote, "Matt Gaetz is loose in Nashville. Hide your kids." Other posts talk about him appearing at the Five Spot. This is from someone named Buffalo Irons, who also goes by the name Iron Fox on Twitter. "The Five Spot in Nashville is a 21 plus bar. Everyone there is too old for you, Matt Gaetz." This is from someone named Caro, also known as @ChampagneMommy. "Matt Gaetz, even being at Five Spot, is super haunting for Nashville." More posts talks about how the Five Spot will now need some bleach and sage burning at the Five Spot. Other people talked about how the Five Spot is a national institution and how gross it is that Matt Gaetz went there. Another person wrote, "My wife isn't on Twitter. I said, guess who ran Matt Gaetz out of the Five Spot last night? And I showed her the picture. It was the loudest I've heard her laugh." And look, when people like Matt Gaetz, when people who support the overthrow of our government, when people like Matt Gaetz who just show up outside of their jurisdictions and they think they're in for a very warm welcome, what you spread on a day-to-day basis, Matt Gaetz and other MAGA Republicans of your ilk, is hate. You see, the pro-normal, pro-democracy part of this country, this exhausted majority that has now been awakened, what we want to do on our Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and evenings, we want to go to a bar like the Five Spot, and we want to hang out with diverse people and listen to great music and speak with creative people. We want to just enjoy our lives, enjoy our families, enjoy our friends, enjoy our colleagues, and to go through our lives without having to deal with people like you who want to use the government, who want to use your power to divide us and to spread hate and to spread bigotry and to spread lies and to spread QAnon conspiracy weirdness. We just want to go about our days in peace without your intervention, without your madness, without your insanity. I mean, that whole echo chamber that you live in of chaos and lies, you may enjoy that, but the rest of America, we don't. And that's why one of the big things we talk about here on the MeidasTouch network is really not so much even about political party. And I haven't hid the fact that I'm a Democrat, but what I talk most importantly about is why. And it's because they have adults in the room, they're pro-democracy, and what I focus more on here at the MeidasTouch network and what our other commentators focus more on is the pro-democracy, pro-normal movement generally. And look, this consists of former Republicans who acknowledge that the Republican Party has left them, which is now this MAGA Republican Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Donald Trump style party, Nick Fuentes, Kanye West style party, independents. A lot of people don't say I'm a Democrat or a Republican. It's just like, leave me alone. Let me have my freedoms. Stop saying that the government should control a woman's body. Let a woman have the freedom over her body. Let people love who they want to love. Let people marry who they want to marry. We don't need people like Matt Gaetz and Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene being the arbiter of that, interfering with our relationships and our relationships with doctors, our relationships with who we love. Just stay the heck out and let us enjoy a drink in peace at a bar with great music on a Friday night and stop trying to tear us down. That's to me what the pro-democracy, pro-normal movement is all about, right? Where people like Kerry Lake are claiming every election everywhere is stolen as long as the fascists are the ones who don't win. The pro-normal people are like, hey, let me grab a drink. Let me listen to some great music. Let me go out. I don't want to deal with that headache and these people who are trying to subjugate the rest of us with their insane ideology. We want to talk about the issues that matter to American people, right? And that's where you have independents, people who aren't affiliated with political parties, and Democrats. We may disagree sometimes on how you get things done. We may disagree on how a policy is implemented, when a policy is implemented, how far a policy should go. But fundamentally, the issues in this pro-democracy, pro-normal coalition, exhausted majority that's now been awakened coalition, is like, we want to talk about people's jobs because we want people to have enough money to go out with a friend and enjoy some entertainment. We want to focus on how they get wages with dignity. How do we bring more jobs here into the United States? How do we build our infrastructure here? And if people get sick, which happens, how do we make sure that they have access to the best health care available and that they're not going to get bankrupt, that healthcare is cheap and affordable. We reduce the costs of prescription drug prices, unlike what Matt Gaetz wants to do. How do we make prescription drugs more accessible, cheaper for people who need it? How do we make education more accessible? How do we improve working conditions for people and not just make higher wages, but have situations where people can have the best working conditions imaginable? And as I mentioned earlier, make sure a woman has the freedom over her body, make sure people can marry who they want to marry without Republicans being against interracial marriage and against gay marriage and against the LGBTQ plus community. What are you doing, MAGA Republicans? We just want to go about our lives in the pro-normal, pro-democracy coalition without the Matt Gaetzes of the world intruding in our lives. And Matt Gaetz, every single day you spew hate. So it shouldn't shock you that after spewing hate, trying to divide Americans, trying to crush us and harm us, and trying to separate us from who we could love and how we can love, and trying to impose your will, that when you just show up there, in your creepy self and you start looking around, that you're not welcome. We don't want you there. You don't just get to walk back in and say, "Oh, I'm here." No, you're a phony, and what you're doing couldn't be worse for this country. We reported earlier in the week as well, after your close friend pled guilty to child sex trafficking, who you hung out with, that there is still a criminal investigation taking place there. And, while everybody is presumed innocent, and frankly, including you, it is beyond any dispute that you were out there hanging out, partying, traveling with an individual who was leading a sex trafficking ring, who just pled guilty. That's undisputed. Sickening. So you show up at our bars, you want to hang out. No, you don't get to do that anymore. I'm sorry. We're not welcome. You're not welcome there. And the people of East Nashville let you know. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit the subscribe button. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers thanks to your support. And in addition to supporting us here on the MeidasTouch Network, check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. We're not funded by any outside investors at all. So wherever you are in the world, if you want to help grow this independent media platform, there's lots of great exclusive content you can only get on our Patreon site. Again, it's patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Check it out. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas.
At MeidasTouch, we are unapologetically pro-democracy, and we demand justice and accountability. That's why we're spreading our message to Convict 45. That's right, gear up right now with your Convict 45 tees and pins at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.